I feel like you're the chief of Barstool can do that.
Yeah, we can do anything. I think it's almost nobody else would even try.
Hi, this is the Token CEO podcast. It is the year 2023. I'm Erica. I'm the CEO of Barstool Sports, and it is Tuesday, January 3rd. I can't remember if we told you that. This is episode 246 of this show. Welcome to the new year. Welcome back. We have a new format. So we're going to drop this show on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're going to drop this show on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The Tuesday episode is going to be Q&A and a little bit of what's happening at Barstool, what's going on in my life. And then the Thursday episode we'll have people way smarter and more interesting than me come on and talk about their businesses and their work. So that's how the show is going to go. We'll probably change this in like 2 to 3 weeks, but you can give us your feedback if you like it. As always, let's start the year off on a good foot. So if you like this podcast, give us a 5-star rating on Spotify or Apple. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, or you can buy Business Casual or Token CEO or Work Like a Girl merch. And we are so grateful for that. Big shout out to Omega Accounting Solutions. So Omega Accounting Solutions, they help small businesses. They are a champion for small business. What's incredible about Omega Accounting Solutions is you call them, you put 10 minutes of your life on the line, you explain your small business, you explain all your employees, you explain what you do, and they're like, you qualify for the employee retention credit, which can give you up to $26,000 back per employee. So all you have to do is recognize, hey, I might have a problem, or hey, there's tax credits that I may not be paying attention to, and you can call Omega Accounting Solutions at 1-800-300-9ERC. That's 1-800-300-9ERC, or go to OmegaTaxCredits.com, and you can figure out more for yourself. All right, so we're going to flash real quickly. We were on location at the Arizona Bowl. Everyone was in Tucson. We're going to flash to what happened there, and then we'll come back for some Q&A.
We're doing a little breakout session from the Arizona Bowl. So we're in Arizona. We've got All Business Pete and Live Events Lisa. Why don't you, just for people who don't listen to this thing, explain what you do?
I run kind of our technology and a lot of our live broadcast events.
Okay.
And all the studios and streaming and everything at HQ as well.
And the internet.
And the internet at HQ.
Poorly.
Trying to, it's okay. It's fixed.
It's not fixed.
It's mostly fixed.
And describe how we got you, because I remember coming to Barstool and we needed to build the office and find you. That was really the only two jobs I had at the beginning.
Yeah.
So describe that process. That was a long time ago. That was almost 7 years ago.
Yeah, 6.5 years ago. I was waiting for Dave to write the blog, essentially. I knew I was in New York. I worked in Boston.
Where were you working?
At Accenture.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Doing what?
We were trying to build like an OTT video service for a client. Like a YouTube TV or Hulu Live.
You worked at Accenture?
Yeah, I was a consultant.
Really?
I was commuting to Denver.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you wear like button-down shirts and stuff?
I wore slacks and button-down shirts. Because I'd go out there for 4 days. I had 6 shirts, so I'd pull 4 out, and then the next week I'd take 2 out, put the other 2 back in, and just cycle through.
Really?
And it would just,
So you wore the shirts twice before washing
basically.
them?
No. I'd wash whatever, but then I can't wear the same 4 shirts. So I'd cycle cycle 2 out.
2
put
new
them back
guys.
in my because I come home on Friday, you do the laundry, goes right back into the suitcase, and you go take the 6 a.m. back out on Monday.
Oof.
Yeah.
God, this explains a lot. I was like, Mrs. Biz must hate us, and then I was like, oh, she probably hated your life.
I started commuting when our daughter was like 6 months old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The wives love that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway.
Okay.
So I was waiting for Dave to write the blog, because I figured that's how it would happen. So I had an email ready to go. Emailed was the name Marcus, the original intern?
Marcus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Email him, and then kind of got past the first phase.
Marcus, the Harvard intern.
Yeah,
we had the Harvard intern.
Is he successful now? I feel like he came back once.
Marcus, the Harvard intern, was great. Sharon Group found him, and then Marcus was about to graduate from Harvard and was like, "You can pay me $260,000." And I was like, "I don't think we're going to be doing that," because last I checked, you like run and get the costumes and stuff. So
he never made it past. Like, we moved in September. He was gone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Marcus.
So then I meet Dave, talk about everything. And he's like, this all sounds good. I don't understand a single word that you just said. I said, okay. Yep. So he had me meet with some other folks who were working on the office, and they were vetting people.
Yeah.
And
Abelstein and those guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so talked to them, and then they picked me, and then
I think you were the only one.
I think I was the only one. When I talked to the woman, she was like, you're the only one that can do this. And I was like, okay. I don't think you cast a very wide net because I'm sure there are other people that could do it.
We had no idea what we were looking for, so that was helpful. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and it's been just joyous ever since.
Yeah, just a fun parade.
What do you like the most about Barstool, and what do you like the least?
The most is doing interesting things quickly.
Yeah.
Just like, what are we going to do? And doing it.
Yeah.
And then the least is how chaotic and haphazard the doing is.
Which is painful. Okay, least, then enter you. So you joined us from the NHL, right?
NHL Network, yep. Oh, hold it closer, sorry. So yeah, I was at the NHL Network.
Awkward to have a microphone near your face, I think.
Ryan Whitney put us in touch.
Ryan Whitney was like, you have to hire this girl.
And I think I spoke to Pete for a few minutes. I don't even think we met. And then I started. Tumultuous first year.
Terrible first year.
Not great.
But what was it like at the NHL Network? So we did meet actually in your interview process.
It was just, wash, rinse, and repeat. Like, not in a bad way. Like, it was just very, it
was stable.
Winter Classic, All-Star, playoffs, draft, then baseball season, because MLB Network and NHL Network were the same company. And, it was just kind of every day was the same, templates. And I think, the most exciting thing about Barstool here is I don't think one day is ever the same. Yeah. There's no template. Be
nice
which
we had a couple templates.
At times Pete will tell you is not so fun.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'd rather it this way than that way.
Yep.
So.
And you stuck it through. And now I think you're like one of our most valuable people. I love it.
I
love that about
you. It was I have this guy to thank. I
I
remember I think our lowest point together was probably at Rough and Rowdy in Providence. I think you were in the middle of the Penn deal.
When they, the one where they were chucking the things at our heads, I was there. Remember that?
Yeah.
But they got into a fight in the parking lot, and the cops were like, I don't know if this is a good idea. We were like, just give us more cops. And we'll be fine.
And remember, Erica sent me an email that I spent $200 on a sell a train tickets, which... You got that number from Daniela, who happened to just look up any random train ticket price, but they were really only like $55.
Okay.
And Pete sat there with me in the hallway, and we constructed a really nice email to you that you ignored. But it felt great to send it though, and Pete was really supportive. But yeah,
I was mad because it was too much money.
It was too much money.
Yeah.
Because
I think we were probably being wasteful, and we were worried about money.
Yeah.
We still are, and I think we were in the Penn deal, so it was like
every dollar counted.
It was like, oh, we do an event, we make blah blah blah.
Yeah, and I think during COVID,
I couldn't tell. I had my door shut for like 2 years on that one. Yeah, just shut my door and talk to Penn. Okay, so sorry, Lisa. Keep going.
And then COVID happened, and we thrived in the Barstool Classic, and now here we are.
So explain what you do.
So I head up all of our live events, experiential broadcast with Pete, live shows like when we go to Chicks in the Office or those kind of shows. So we started as a team of one.
Yep.
And now I think we're at 5. So.
And what do you like the most, and what do you hate?
So I like that it's different. I think what I like and hate about are the same thing. It's that every day is different.
Yep.
But at the same time, when that happens, it's like, trying to
painful.
book travel for people, when they can't make a decision if they're going to go.
Yeah.
So, but I think we've come a long way, don't you? In.
I mean, Office Manager Brett used to run this ship.
Yeah. I remember I asked in my interview, I think I asked you, I said, so who does travel? And you go, Spider. And I remember going home and thinking okay, so a guy named Spider books travel. I could only go up from here. So, yeah.
You've both had such an amazing impact, though.
Yeah.
I'm appreciative that you stuck it out. Because I think that it was such a culture shock for us to have a process. Mm-hmm. And now we need even more of that, which, I think you two have such great because you kind of live in where the rubber meets the road part of the company, which is everybody can fuck around and have an idea. But when it comes to executing the idea and having boots on the ground, it's like a whole different ballgame. Okay, so describe the Arizona Bowl.
It's a college football bowl game.
Yes.
So the representative from the Mountain West and the MAC conference get to come here and play for the very prestigious title. In this case, the first Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl champion.
Wyoming versus Ohio University.
Yeah. Yep. University of Ohio.
Ohio University.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. And talk about the production.
Yeah, we've got a great crew. We were lucky to be able to do the basketball game first, and I think a lot of learnings there.
So describe that for people.
So that was the doubleheader, men's basketball doubleheader that we did in Philadelphia in November. It was the second game for everybody, non-conference. The stakes for the teams, I guess, for the games were lower.
Yep.
So we were able to really kind of try some things, do different things, talk to the coaches during the game, and things like that.
And book your appointment today at Revive Tucson. We know we can help.
Is this you're doing?
Look, everybody's getting ready.
That's 520-514-2222.
Everybody's getting ready.
Or visit Revive Men's Health.
Top. Yeah, there you go.
So sorry to interrupt you on that, which is, so I can remember when the Arizona Bowl had approached us. So this was now 3 years ago?
No, it was a year and a half. It was like,
well, we're supposed to, okay, maybe a year and a half. So maybe we had 6
Were you going to sponsor? You were maybe going to sponsor a different bowl, and ESPN shut it down.
We were going to sponsor a different bowl.
Right?
ESPN shot that down, so that didn't happen. So then the Arizona Bowl people came along, and we were pretty fired up. So Dave and I worked hard to get that, and then we spent that first year trying to make everyone in the conferences happy, and basically coming to Arizona all the time. And then COVID happened, and the teams and conferences took their money, and then we just took a massive L. So then, but I remember the first meeting and your eyes kind of lit up, and you were like, I was like, oh, this is Pete's bag.
It was the next step.
This was the next place for us to go.
Doing game watches, and we bring a lot of eyeballs to other events. But this was the next big thing.
So talk about it a little bit from a technical perspective, because I think if you're ESPN or NBC or CBS, you're like, oh, we tried to sponsor something on CBS. That's what it was. You're like, they're like, Barstool can't do that.
Anybody can do it.
I feel like you're the chief of Barstool can do that.
Yeah, we can do anything. I think it's almost nobody else would even try. They would go to a network and let them do it.
Because they're lazy or they're not creative, or like, why don't people try?
Because it's expensive.
Yeah.
And I think not creative, perhaps. But the football, I think people are like, I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to put on a football game. We've got people who, working on this who do NFL games every Sunday, who do all kinds of high profile events, golf. And it's a football game, but we can take some of the preciousness away from the fringes. We're not going to. There's a great play.
All the rules.
Yeah. If there's a great play, we want to see a replay. We're not going to go and talk about some weird stuff. We're going to show you the replay. We're going to show you the game.
Yeah.
But around
we
the edges,
too like football.
And around the edges, we'll show you some fans. We'll show you some interesting things.
We'll have Frank do the coin toss.
Exactly. Stuff that people. We tried to get Dan to do a jump. It's just a football game with a little Barstool around the edges.
It's a football game with some Barstool flair.
Yeah. And I would argue it's probably what we're doing is bigger than any Arizona football game that they've had here this year on ESPN, on Pac-12, on anything. Yeah.
I saw that. I was reading some press, and I was like, "Oh, Peter Overmeyer is quoted in here."
They won't use my nickname in print, I guess.
I understand. You said you were thinking there'll be 150,000 concurrents.
We were talking about, that was our rough and rowdy high water mark. That was Jose Canseco.
Yeah.
So that's probably the most we've ever delivered. And in terms of delivery, we built everything off the rough and rowdy system. So triple backups everywhere.
Yeah.
Able to move people over if something's not working.
Yep.
And we did. I forget. We had close to 40, I think, for basketball.
Yeah.
And this is a bigger game.
Yeah.
People are home. It's Friday. I think we'll be able to do it.
Between the games. Yeah, it's great. Okay.
And last year we would have been competing against the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then what are you worried about?
Everything. It's a lot.
For real?
Yeah. I always worry.
I mean,
it's not. Nobody should be walking around here like everything's gonna be great. You have to worry. You have to focus. You have to look for the problems. You have to find them before they become public.
Yeah.
We've overcome other stuff. Once the encoders get going, once we're getting that signal out, and we're ready to put it live, that's when I can relax a little bit.
Okay.
We've got to.
So that's like your plane takeoff moment. You're like, if this thing's gonna crash, it's gonna crash right now.
It's probably the last wheels off the ground, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Okay.
It's also my actual job.
Okay.
Right. So like really, I should
most
just
likely to
be
get
I should
fucked
just
up.
be focused on not most
And
likely.
are you
That's not
directing
nice.
the show or no?
I'm not. I'm not good
Does
at
that
it.
make
I'm
you
not a
sad?
director. This is the thing. That's not my
You
job.
used to be the director.
I do Rough and the Rowdies and I do the college football show,
Okay.
but I'm not very good at it. And
Do you want to be better at it?
no, I'm much happier in the back watching.
Okay.
A guy asked me, he's like, "What do you just watch the stream?" I said, "I don't even watch the stream. I watch the graphs. I watch like how many people are
Yeah.
clicking play. How,
Yeah.
Are they rebuffering? Is the video
Yeah.
getting delivered to them? That's all. That's what
Yeah.
I watch. That's my
You
real
watch
job.
the data.
Yeah. So I executive produce on the side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Lise, what do you think?
I think Pete's being humble. Pete's an excellent director for someone who
I don't know. I
didn't
think he's
actually
okay.
do it.
You don't watch the shows.
Yes, I do.
college football shows you watch?
I watched half.
There's no way.
I do. I watched the whole thing.
Just make sure there's sound and go away.
I make sure the wheels are off the ground, and then I'm
Yes.
like, I can move on now. Sorry, Lise.
No,
Pete
I
is-
got nothing.
Pete's great at most everything.
Pete's good at what he does.
You have
He's-
a good humor about
he's a
you
good
too,
boss.
Pete. Do you know what I put on my computer over break? So I went rummaging through people. Sorry, I asked you a question and I totally interrupted. I was rummaging through the desks as I tend to do around the holidays. I get like really angry.
Your
that-
desk or everybody's desk?
My desk, I was cleaning up my desk because I think that's a good thing to do at the end of the year. And then I was like kind of lamenting that there's like people freezing in Ukraine and we have 500 sweatshirts behind Daniela's desk. So I was like, we should do something about this. But then I stumbled upon a Team ABP sticker and I stole it and I put it on my computer.
Yeah, that's
Who made
nice.
those? Those were so
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah, we got sweatshirts. And
Oh, really?
tote bags, yeah, one.
Yeah,
Oh, great. Well, I put the sticker on.
great. Yeah, but we're all Team Barstool.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Everybody's out for themselves now, but it's fine. Okay. What's your advice to someone who is working in consulting and wants to do something more creative and have a chaotic, terrible life for several years? Did anything show up at your house recently?
Not that I know. Not that I know of.
Oh,
Did
well,
you?
I think it's going to happen when you're here.
Great.
Love it. Okay, go ahead. So, what's your advice to somebody?
Just keep an eye out there. I ended up in consulting accidentally. I worked in production for a while.
Okay.
I was in TV production and moved over to the digital kind of media side,
Yeah.
and that's what Accenture acquired and how I ended up there. But it was terrible. So just keep your options open. I learned a lot there, but always just be looking to get out,
Yeah,
see what's going on,
and
I
like
knew-
have that email pre-written.
I waited for. I mean, he made that announcement like in January, and then he was supposed to move in May, and it's
Yeah.
like you got hired in July, and I was like, all right, if we
We're
can be in
moving
by Labor
October.
Day, it'll be a miracle. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, I love that. And what about you, Lise?
Sorry, what was the question? Justin was calling me.
Like,
and, paying
what's your
attention to that.
advice to?
Oh.
My question for you is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Like to taking a kind of a risky jump. Like NHL Network is very respected, totally stable.
Totally.
Nobody's
Yeah.
getting fired.
Yeah. I think with me, it was one of these things where like I needed a change. So my whole thinking was like, let's do this. If it works, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't, and I'll find something else. And I think that's kind of the mindset you have to have.
Yeah.
You can't be scared to fail. I fail a lot here secretly.
do?
Secretly, there are things I wish I did better, but I learned from it. I always say, like, and I tell this to my guys too. We work in a space where there's no textbook. Like, you can't read how to do something.
Yeah.
We're not finance people, or whatever. So the only way to learn is from your mistakes.
Yeah.
So, it's not always so
Yeah,
bad.
start making them.
It's not always so bad to make mistakes. And I tell them all the time, like, make mistakes, learn from them. Don't make mistakes twice. That gets me so
I actually think
mad.
we fuck up all the time, but we rarely make the same mistake twice. I've had it a handful of times here, and then I really hate myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of people who also hate themselves when they make mistakes. Like, I feel like
Mm.
we kind of breed that kind of feeling.
our mistakes are very public,
Yeah.
but I don't think we fuck up that much anymore.
We fuck up way less than we used to.
decisions, but I don't think we fuck up.
Yeah, actually, you're actually right. We used to fuck up. Now we make bad decisions. Sorry, Lisa.
No,
keep
no.
going. What got you through that first year where you were so different and what you were trying to do was so foreign? Like, because I feel like that first year was kind of rocky.
Well,
but
it was
then
just,
it's like
yeah.
we couldn't exist without you.
Yeah, I think it was just, I think the biggest issue that first year was, you know, I came in and I wanted to make a change. I wanted to make Barstool more organized.
Yeah.
And it wasn't so easy.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that, you know, with Pete's support, I think we kept on like
You just
picking,
hammered at
like
it.
you just
Yeah.
like chipped away at it. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. You know, we just chipped away at it, and every event got like a little better. And like I remember, I had you send an email to all the talent that they weren't allowed to change their flights after we booked them for Super Bowl without asking permission, because the MO was like, oh, I want to go home earlier for no
Yeah.
reason other than to just go home. And then it was a $500 switch,
Yeah.
and we approved that. And it was like, if we don't approve that anymore, like we'll save X amount of
Yeah.
dollars. And like, if we just keep on chipping away at that. And then, yeah, I think, you know, that was the hardest thing, was just like wanting to implement change quickly. I think that's the thing I learned most. And I'm still learning it now, is like, you can't, like change takes time.
Yeah.
And, you know, you have to kind of like just be patient.
Yeah, you got to slog it through.
Not one of my like best qualities, like we'll talk about that in my end of year review, like I have to be more patient. And
Oh, is that the advice you give her?
I think.
oh boy, we're gonna do my end
Yeah,
of
let's
year
do it
review
here.
right
I know you
here.
have to go.
I think
we have a show to
I
put
think
on.
being,
But.
being patient and deliberate is good. Is good generally, and it's good here. We used to get told to do something, and Lisa would do it in 5 seconds. I was like, wait 3 days and see if they forget about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because that was a common. We should do this crazy thing. Just wait 3 days, see if they want to do the crazy thing on Monday.
That's smart. I feel like a lot of people here could. We were doing our postmortem for the merch team, and you know, somebody says something, and it's actually culturally amazing. People jump, and it's part of the trigger instinct that I do think makes us successful. But sometimes it was like Large asked for some fucking dumb shirt because he was shit-faced, and then the merch team went and spent cycles, and then the next day was like, that was a bad idea.
Well, I
And
think
you're
that's
just like,
something,
"Psh."
you know, we talked about at our meeting too, is like we move so quickly without thinking
Yeah.
sometimes. But then if we take the time to think, that thing
You're like,
doesn't
why
get
are we
done.
doing
And,
this? And then
you
you're like,
know,
we shouldn't do this.
Exactly. And I think, but I think the best part about Barstool, and you would agree, is that we do move
Yeah.
fast, and we do like do things impulsively.
But I think
that
what's
help.
so great about you guys is like you're going to be part of that future of like, we can make anything happen, but let's make better decisions and choose the right thing to make happen. And like, I'm so excited about, like, I was on flying here yesterday, and Jill was writing me. So we have someone who we've hired who we're trying to figure out how we monetize things and how we take them to market and who does what. And she is you 3 years ago or 4 years ago, however long it was, 3 years ago, I think. She's you. Like, she wants to make the change now.
Yeah.
She's pissed off about it. This doesn't make sense. This person is in the wrong role. What are they doing? And I was like, yo, Jill, like, you got back the Brinks truck up. And like, what are the like 2 things you want to get done now that are going to make the biggest amount of change? And then it snowballs more.
Yes.
But it's funny because it's like, there is so much to fix, and I like that. I like people who like to fix things. I think you guys generally like.
I
to
think
fix
it's
things.
really been fun for me to see like I've only been here 3.5 years, and the change has been crazy.
dramatic.
So I can't
Yeah.
imagine what you guys have seen in the last 6 or 7 years.
It's
but,
it's traumatic.
It's 4 companies ago.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
that's true.
exactly. Okay, so sorry. Then just last thing is like after Arizona Bowl, what's next? So Classic is
Yeah.
obviously coming
So
up.
well, we have the Super Bowl.
Oh,
So
right.
we have to
Forgot
make
about the
some
Super Bowl.
major
We're back here for
decisions
the
on
Super
that.
Bowl.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do for Super Bowl? I got to be honest with you. When I saw the talent list here, I was so impressed. There's hardly anyone here.
Yeah.
By our standards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole company used to go to the Super Bowl.
I mean, everybody went.
Yeah.
I was like, "Where's Feidelberg?" Like Feidelberg always goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what are we going to do for the Super Bowl?
We're going to be in Scottsdale.
Yeah. At the bar.
The greatest bar in Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Correct. Go there. That's a great question. We need to figure that out. We have a meeting on the Tuesday we get back, and
Okay.
we need to figure out what we're going to do.
Okay.
And then, yeah, we have Barstool Classic, mini golf. That's
We're doing mini golf at the Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
mini golf
I
at the
think
Super Bowl.
We're going to try to do a dozen
Oh, that'd be great. That's enough.
and then radio at the
Yep.
bar.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's enough. All right.
All right,
Great.
cool.
Okay, so we're doing Q&A. Our Q&A is brought to you by Athletic Brewing Company. We've got 2 awesome 6-packs from Athletic Brewing Company. If you are thinking about drinking less, hand up. I am thinking about drinking less a lot. Athletic Brewing Company is an awesome option for you. They are the leading non-alcoholic craft brewer. In January, they want you to give dry a try. They make an awesome selection of near beers, so you can get near beers that taste like IPAs. You can get near beers that taste like Goldens, Darks, light brews, and more. I love Athletic Brewing mostly because I think the cans are so pretty. Like, I love it. It's also like if you feel like having a beer, but you don't really want to because you're trying to cut back on calories or drink less, it's just an awesome opportunity to have a great taste of something, but know that it's non-alcoholic. So, new Athletic Brewing Companies get 20% off their first order of 2 6-packs or more when you visit athleticbrewing.com and use code TOKENCEO at checkout. You need to do this before March 31st. So give dry a try this January. Okay, so I'm here at the Arizona Bowl. Casey Smith is with me. Casey, we had a question. Well, first of all, how are you doing?
I'm fantastic. We're here. We
Yeah?
didn't get it canceled this year,
It's
so
amazing.
that's good. I'm happy to be here. It's been babysitting the boys all week, but because
Yeah.
it's like a playground for them.
All right, give a quick snapshot because you're the college football person. Like, what's happening in college football right now?
So we're like right in the middle of bowl season, which
Okay.
college football fans love, especially if you're a gambler, responsibly, of course. But by the time this airs, we'll know who's in the national championship. So we'll either know if Dave is very happy or very sad if
Yeah.
Michigan is there. But
Because Michigan's playing TSU.
TCU, yes.
Or TCU,
yes.
yeah.
Michigan's playing TCU. They will beat TCU.
Yeah.
So I'm foreshadowing that right now. Michigan will beat TCU, then Georgia and Ohio State. And if Ohio State can win, you might have a problem on your hands because you're going to have Big Ev and Dave in the national championship against each other. And I think there might be actual
Good
blood.
for Big Ev.
No, definitely not. Or Brandon, because Brandon's now Buckeye Brandon. So all
okay.
season, this is led up to this. And in college football, it's like everybody looks towards the college football playoff. It just so happens that it really benefits Barstool this year. So that's good.
That's great. Is the playoff different this year because of the Big Ten? Like, is it?
It's having
explain
two-
how that's
So
changed.
it's 2 Big Ten teams this year, which
Okay.
means that 2 Big Ten teams could end up playing each other in the national title. We see that happen in the SEC sometimes, and people lose their minds because they're like, oh, it's SEC bias. It's really good for the Big Ten. But in a few years, there's going to be 12 teams in the playoffs. So right now, just having 4, that's what everybody's looking at. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be Georgia and Michigan. But again, if the Big Ten does make that happen, it's crazy for the conference, and it's, again, better for us.
Okay, well, we'll take it.
We need that.
All right, so Casey, we're in the Q&A section of today, and the question we got was, I'm looking for a new job, but I'm pregnant and due in a couple months. Should I still be applying? And I was like, this is perfect for you. Are a resident expert right now.
Well, I feel like I already knew what job I was having, so I feel like I should ask you as somebody who would hire me. Would you want?
Definitely.
So I think you should keep looking because you're eventually going to want a job. But I also don't know. I mean, this is maybe me being ignorant. It's like, do people look at that and say like, well, when can you start? Like, is that the first question that people would ask?
So first of all, I think that I took a job pregnant. I took a new job pregnant, and then I just didn't tell anyone for like 7 months and hid my pregnancy, which probably wasn't the best. But
Well,
whatever.
You can do it. You can do that.
I mean, I tried hard.
I can't do it anymore.
No, yeah,
so-
I'm like, that's why I was like, is Casey talking about her pregnancy? I'm like, obviously you are.
Yes.
But then I'm like, and obviously there's no hiding it. at
no
this
hiding
point.
it.
Yeah.
It is full blown.
Full blown here.
He
We're
is
having
here.
a baby.
Yes.
So I think that you should, as a woman, always apply for a job that you want. If you're interested in getting a new job, you should go take a new job. I think your employer is going to ask the question. The future employer is going to be like, in their head, when can you start? But I also think that's something you could like head off at the pass, and you would say, hey, I'm interested in this job. I have great experience, whatever. I'm due in February or whatever it may be. And I would be able to start in June or whatever. You could just say it ahead of time and not make a mystery of it.
I feel like it would handle a lot of the stress you probably have because if you need to get a job, you're not going to want to go look for a job when you have a newborn.
Right.
I haven't had one yet, but I can imagine that's not a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You have a lot of other things on your mind. Also, and I know you've probably dealt with this too, it's like just because you're having a baby doesn't make you like unable to do real life things.
Completely.
You're not a sick person. I know a lot
Yeah.
of people deal with sickness.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm still just me. I
Yeah,
just happen to
that's
be having a baby
You're
as
me
well.
with a child inside. of
Yes.
it.
So
Yeah.
like I can still do my job. I can still look
Yep.
at my job. I still have to pay my bills. I still have to help support my
Yeah,
family.
life goes on.
Life
Yeah.
goes on, you know, so I'm not fragile. You don't need to wrap me in bubble wrap. You know, I can go look for a job. So I would say doing it now is probably much better for everybody across the board.
Yep.
Because you can say, hey, like I know I'm not going to be able to start for a couple months, but I'm the best candidate for
Yeah.
this. I think I'm the best. Let me do it whenever I'm
I
settled
agree
back
with
into the
that.
world.
I agree with that. Pregnant women are not sick and do not need to be bubble wrap.
yeah.
It's annoying.
It is.
It's
And
annoying with
I
that.
like the like small parts of it where, you know, people do protect
It's
you a
nice
little
to
bit
get
more.
a seat on the train.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
When they stand up, you're like,
Yeah.
oh man, yeah,
God
it's-
bless you. Yeah.
Thank you. But at the end of the day, it's like I'm not like unable to just be a human being. Things
Yeah.
are a little bit harder.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit longer to do things.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you can't look for a job,
I
especially if
agree.
that's a job you want.
I agree. Okay, my next question for you, Case. First time mom. How do you find the motivation for your job the same way you did before you had children? Are you worried about that?
I am a little bit worried about that. The good news for my situation was the timing really worked out well for me since college football and the NFL is so heavy for my job. As
Yeah.
you know, we travel all the time. So I'm due on Super Bowl Sunday, which gives me time to recover.
This kid
I mean,
is the best already.
it's the most cliche thing. I didn't even realize it was Super Bowl Sunday until I think it was Dan or Brandon. And I said it and they're like, did you do that on purpose? I was like, well, absolutely not. But that means he's not going to, my son's not going to come on Super Bowl Sunday. But for me, it's knowing that I have the time to recover and play mom for a little bit,
Yep.
stay home on maternity leave, but be full blown back by the time football season
Yeah.
starts. But there is an element of, you know, I don't know what it's like to
Yeah.
care for a human yet. I don't know what it's like to be a mom
Yep.
and to take on that burden. My boyfriend will go back to work much sooner than I do. So how do you balance
Yeah.
that? I think you kind of figure it out.
Yeah, I
Do
think
you?
so too. Yeah, no, I think
Do
you
you
figure it
have-
out. Yes, you're gonna figure
Am I
it
gonna
out.
figure
You're
it
gonna
out?
figure it out. You're definitely gonna figure it
Oh,
out.
that's
You're gonna-
good.
You're gonna
That's-
figure it out. You have it all figured out.
I'm trying. I've been told a million times from both moms and dads that it's all instinct, right? That
Yeah.
it'll kick in. Dan has said that to me so many times, like, oh, you figure it out. I'm like, but maybe I'm the one person that won't. The good news is that working here,
Yeah.
it's like I know that there's so much support behind it and the timing. If this happened during the football season,
That would be
that would be
stressful for
very,
you.
very
Yeah.
stressful because obviously, first and foremost, my family,
Yeah.
my baby, but also knowing that my
Yeah, you
main
have so much FOMO.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The FOMO would be
Yeah.
crazy. I'm sure if like looking at my baby, I'd be like, okay, this is more important
Yeah.
than babysitting Dan, Dave, Brandon, and Deion Sanders all
Not
the
that
time.
different, really.
I've had a lot of practice.
Yeah, you really have. You're well sit.
Those have been the really funny comments this
Yeah.
football season from people. It's like, you know, you're going to be a great mom. You've had so much work with
Yeah, you're
grown
like
men
a
for the last
constant
5 years. And
babysitter.
like,
That's right.
but-
I think that so one is that I think when you have a baby, you can expect that everything changes and nothing changes. You know what I mean? And it's not like all at once. Like you do bring this thing home from the hospital and you're like, oh my God, how am I allowed? Like
How did they let you leave? How do they let you
it's
leave?
scary. You like
with a
put them
tiny
in the
little
car and you're
thing
like, are
and-
they letting me go with this?
With no pamphlet
Yeah,
or like
completely like a-
instructions.
a
they just say go.
license or something. Yeah, I
Like,
agree with
you're gonna
that.
let my boyfriend drive us home? Like,
Yeah.
are we sure
He's
he
a
can do
terrible
this? I know,
driver.
right? What are we doing?
But I think that everything changes and nothing changes. And then I also think your motivation is going to change where one, you have to make room for something else. It's kind of like in your body when you're pregnant, you're like making room for this thing. Your life makes room for a baby. But that doesn't mean that you won't have a drive to work or you won't have a drive to be on air or everything may change and nothing may change. But to your point, you're going to figure it out when you're there and it all kind of works itself out.
The balance is something that I've always admired that people do. We've talked about it. I've been on this podcast plenty before saying like, oh, I admire people can do it. I'm never going to do it, but I admire you.
Yeah.
Well, here we are. So I love the fact that so many women have shown that they can do it. There are a lot of dads that have shown that they can be a stay-at-home dad, just like a stay-at-home mom can be as well. So I like the fact that now we kind of live in a society where it's like, hey, you know what? Do whatever you want, whatever roles you want to be, you can do them. But I think you have to like live through that because even just being pregnant and working is wildly different. And it's like, I have to remind myself, hey, by the way, you need to rest.
Yeah.
I'll get home from things sometimes. Like when we did the doubleheader of the college football show this year, I was right at the end of my second trimester and all day I'm just go, go, go. And as soon as I sat down, every ounce of my body hurt it.
Just hurt.
Hurt.
Yeah.
It just hurt. Every ounce hurt. I think I threw up like
Yeah.
just from like the nerves. And I was like, oh shit, I'm pregnant.
Yeah, you're like, I
I gotta take it a little bit
easy.
easy.
Yeah.
So I can imagine once you're a mom, you do have to take those into consideration more so than you would, but that doesn't mean you can't do your job. So fingers crossed.
All right. I love that.
So thanks to Athletic Brewing for doing our Q&A. Thank you to everybody who helped make the Arizona Bowl possible. And tune in on Thursday, and we're going to have Pinky Cole. She is a trip. Pinky Cole is the founder and CEO of The Slutty Vegan, which is a restaurant and a cultural force of nature. She's going to be with us on Thursday, and that's it.